Well, everybody, congratulations to making it to the finish line. We have officially closed out the very first hashtag weBVolume contest for the Web Center program. And I've got to say, guys, looking at the results today and sifting through the various people that have sold websites and all of the results that were reported, I'm really excited for everybody. I mean, we've got a few people that we just now have to vet their results before we can make any official announcements on how you will find out who the winners are. We are, absolutely making sure and you know, uh, cross-checking to make sure that sales and personally sponsored are accurate and all of that other great stuff. But even in looking at the results, we had 118 people sell a website during this contest period. Sell one website. That was the very first filter that I applied. We looked at all the results that were submitted over the past 11 weeks, and I just filtered to see how many people sold a website. 118 people did so. And that is just very, very profound because in previous fast tracks, we'd have about 100 people finish the period. And but at the end of the period, not everybody had sold a website. Other people had found other business partners or had some great positive business growth. But it was just really, really great to see so many people actually sell a website during this period. And it just goes to show you, if you keep it simple, anybody can do this. If you complicate the process, then you're really just in your own way. You can call 20 people a day, but that is going to be a little bit less effective than the people that are out there just building relationships one on one. Does it take more time? Absolutely. But there are no shortcuts to success, guys. You have to have the stay power, and you have to be willing to get your hands dirty. And so congratulations to all of you for doing that, and seeing it through, because there were some positive results, and everybody that completed the fast track, whether it was a personally sponsored or a new customer or a website sold or a new pin level achieved or whatever it was, whatever positive business growth that you experienced, congratulations on that, and congratulations for what will come if you follow through with what we're going to put forward today. So for tonight's topic, we are going to be talking. I will share the actual results with you, and I want to share with you a couple of rules for things that you should always be doing. And so I wrote always be, and there's a couple of key critical things that after a fast track, I like to remind myself and the people that I work with that these are things that we need to be doing on an ongoing basis, right? Your business doesn't close shop once the 90-day fast track is over. Contests are fun. It's a healthy level of competition that we implemented here. It was a nice little insertion of motivation that was really great. But at the end of the day, we're all business owners, and at the end of the day, we all chose to start a business for a reason, and we're majoring in web centers or we're minoring in web centers, and we need to stay on track. So I want to share with you what your next steps need to be, and some good reminders for how you can continue to build off of the momentum, rather than just take a couple of weeks off, because that's going to be the natural human tendency. Is, all right, well, I finished this and I feel complete, so now I'm going to step back. And I'm warning you now, if you step back now, you're going to leave a lot of money on the table, a lot of unclosed business that could still be closed, just because it didn't happen inside of the fast track or the contest period doesn't mean that it's not going to happen. So don't leave those results on the table, guys. Continue to follow up, and we'll talk more specifically on how to do that in a second. We're recording tonight's webinars. This, along with the PDF copies of all the presentations, are available at webvolumecontest.com. And I'm going to flash up what all the topics are again in just a few moments, but just know that that resource is going to be available for you throughout until we do this again. So it will be available there. I recommend downloading the PDFs, sooner than later, just so that if we do take the website down, you still have access to everything that we've trained on in the past 11 weeks. So take a look at these total results. Now, this is for the full contest period. There were 16,702 contacts made. So when I say don't be the person that leaves money on the table, I'm referring to this top tier of stuff that was put into motion. This is all stuff that appointments that were set either to show the plan or to see the website opportunity, or maybe to be a web center owner. All of those appointments that were set and all of the appointments that actually happened, need to be followed up with, because those are the things that are going to culminate into results for you. So remember that top layer of results that we're reporting on, even though they aren't technically results, they are just as important as the results that you have at the bottom there. And those results were phenomenal for an 11-week period. That was, I mean, they're really, really great results. But again, and I've said this before on previous webinars, what I'm most excited for is all of the stuff at the top that's untapped kinetic energy that you can, that you can turn into result if you're smart enough to follow up. So don't leave it on the table. Make sure that you continue to follow up with all of these people that, either set an appointment and it never happened, or had an appointment and have a couple of questions that they need answered before they can make a decision. But take a look at the results that we had. We sold 140 websites. That is a lot of websites. The sale price was 193 grand, and the profit was $126,749 in retail profit. That's an enormous amount of money into the hands of unfranchised owners over the past 11 weeks. In addition, we sold almost $250,000 worth of Market America branded products. Now, these were additional products that were sold as a result of different conversations that were had, or different shares of customer that were built, or whatever. But we tracked that, and that's another really great result. Now, you didn't earn points per se for selling additional product, but wouldn't you agree that the points, the proverbial points, are that your business grew, that you got a new customer, a potential lifelong customer, because our products are so good and because they are consumable. In addition to that, 144 personally sponsored distributors. That was incredible. 952 tickets sold to the international convention. Guys, this is insane. Just think about that. The events that we have anywhere around 18,000 people that show up. We sold almost 1,000 tickets to international convention. Huge, right? And 293 web center trainings were attended. You guys, you knocked it out of the park without a doubt. From week after week after week, people just really did an awesome job. So congratulations to everybody for whatever piece of success that you saw during this period. Congrats for that. And even if that was, you showed your first plan, you set your first website appointment, whatever it was that you did that was better than what you did last week or the last quarter, you need to congratulate yourselves for that, because you stayed the course, and now it's only it only gets better from here. So let's talk about what's next. Number one, I'm going to give you my rules for what I call the always be, and these are going to be applicable both to your web center business and also to your unfranchised. My number one rule is this: always be expanding your network, the people that you know. In our line of work, in our careers, in our industry, people are our inventory, right? When we don't own a retail shop where we stock shelves with product, right? That's not what our investment is in. Our investment is in people. So if we want to have a business that continuously grows, we need to invest in our network, and that means we have to do things actively to expand it. We can't just create a names list, work through it, whether it's for website possibilities or for showing the plan. You cannot just work through your initial names list and then call it a day, right? Because if you're building correctly, you're going to exhaust the names list. You're going to talk to all your prospects and you're going to put them through the process. And if you're not expanding your network, you're going to feel like you're constantly following up with the same people. And you're going to constantly also feel like you're hammering people where the timing isn't right for them. And that isn't fun. And if you're not having fun, you're not going to do it. You will fall off. I guarantee it. So you want to make sure that you're expanding your network, so that you can continuously personally sponsor, and so you can sell more websites. If you don't do this, you will run out of possibilities. So here's the deal. At the end of the day, don't make the mistake of taking a random, a chaotic approach because you run out of people, right? This is what people do. They exhaust their warm market, and then they think, well, I'm out of people, so I'm just going to open up the yellow book and just rapid fire call every business in my town. And yeah, that could work, and it did work 30 years ago as a sales strategy, but people, don't need to do that anymore. It's very inefficient, it's chaotic, it's random, and generally when people get to this point of desperation, the desperation comes out in your words. And so, people can tell. So I'm just saying, don't make that mistake of, you run out of names because you didn't do the work, and now you're going to have to like resort to weird things that aren't going to work. They're not going to be as efficient as you'd like to be. Now, if you're looking to expand your network, over the past 11 weeks, we've really talked about a number of ways where you could expand your network and meet more website possibilities, right? We talked about contractor season, home shows, or even just looking for people that advertise different contractor-y kind of businesses in your town that you could get to know. We talked about working in familiar industries, right? Places that you have work experience so that you can have intelligent conversations and with people and about their business so that maybe they will open up to you. We talked about working with organizations and not-for-profits. How can you also leverage the holidays, right? So that you can talk to people during, you're going to have a lot of summer barbecues this weekend. How can you use this as an opportunity to network? How can you passively prospect? How can you keep your ears open so that when you're out to eat or you're out doing business or at a social event or at a game or whatever, you're not closed off to different possibilities or opportunities that are presenting themselves to you. In week 8, we went into social media strategies, right? Really successful strategies, mostly with your personal pages. We didn't even get into using business pages because I just found that using my personal page was enough to keep my network constantly growing and to keep generating interest. We talked about different tools and sales aids that you could use to support your prospecting, referral techniques, we're mixing majors, learning to edify each other so you could get more referrals. There are PDF versions of all of these presentations. And, we went through a whole lot of information inside of these 11 weeks. It was almost like a college course, right? Where we covered one topic and then you were supposed to apply it. And then the next week we switched over to a whole new strategy for expanding your network. That was the point. The big common denominator here with all of the pre-planned topics that we covered were how can we keep this network expanding for every contestant on this contest so that they don't run out of people, so that they can try different creative things to meet more people rather than just relying on an initial names list and hoping that you find people to add to it. I wanted to give you intentional things that you guys could implement so that your names list would just grow and the possibilities would grow and you would just always have people to talk to. Now, keeping in mind that we crashed right through this course, right? 11 weeks is a quick time. And so, just because you tried it for a couple of days doesn't mean you should stop trying it. In fact, I recommend, if any of these strategies really stuck out to you, and that you felt very comfortable with, go ahead and really, really put it to work for 2 to 3 weeks and get good at it, right? If you're really good with social media prospecting, then get really good at it. Keep doing it so that you can get better. Pick one or two of these topics and just really, really hammer them so that your network just explodes and you could never possibly run out of prospects. But the key and the point of the entire thing is you need to be always expanding your network. In our business, if you want to keep growing, that needs to be your number one concern. How many people do I know, and how can I make that bigger? Number 2, always be prospecting. Okay, so this is a very, very huge point. Here's what a lot of people do, and I've made this mistake at the beginning, and I know that it's a common mistake. It's very natural, but don't make the mistake of building this with the same handful of prospects every 90 days. And so this is what I mean by that. And I've noticed this with the various 90-day fast track groups that we've worked with as well. You get people and they have their network and they start prospecting and they get a couple of warm-ish kind of leads. And what they do is over the 90-day fast track period or for the 90-day period, they just work that handful of leads and they keep working it and massaging it and hoping that it's ready. But at the end of the day, the timing isn't right for somebody. You're not going to force it to be right for somebody. So if you're only working with the same handful of prospects every 90 days, then that forces you to start this cycle over again every 90 days. But if you're constantly prospecting and you're just giving yourself 90-day increments at a time so that you have an assessment point, and really that's the purpose of giving yourself 90-day time limits, then you're not going to be in a scenario where at the end of your 90-day period, now you've got to start all over because you don't have any new prospects in the funnel, right? What you want to do is this. Your goal at any given time should be to create a cycle in your business that is constantly in motion with all four of these things. You want to constantly have new prospects coming to the table, constantly have prospects who are in the process of evaluating the opportunity, whether that's buying a website, whether that's becoming a business partner or whatever. And you want to constantly have people that are ready to close, whether they're ready to buy a website, they're ready to become a partner, and you want to have people that you're constantly following up with for referrals. So when I'm prospecting for website sales and when I'm prospecting to grow my business, these are the four temperatures that I take to determine, is my business in a healthy cycle. And if I find that I only have new prospects and I don't have anybody ready to close, then that lets me know that I dropped the ball somewhere. And I want to make sure that I have all four of these things happening at any given time in my business. That is why we're constantly sponsoring, because we always are prospecting. That is why we're constantly selling 1 to 2 websites a month consistently, because we're always prospecting. That's why we constantly, have people giving us referrals, because we're constantly following up. Right. And so the point is this is like, is it always perfect? Is it ever perfect? Of course it's not. And that's okay. But if you can just understand what your goal is, then you're not going to fall into that rut of working the same people and then running out of prospects and then feeling like, oh, I made 9 website sales this month and then next month I made 0. You don't want to be in that situation. It's not fun to build your business that way. It's fun when you have things constantly flowing and it's like clockwork. It's like a well-oiled machine that's working its magic without you. Right? It's simple, guys. Always, always, always be focused on prospecting so that you don't run out of prospects. You can do this passively, meaning going about your day. We did a webinar on that. You can intentionally be prospecting, and you should be doing that because you're business owners. And then also the last 2 points I put on here because they affect the quality of the prospecting that you're doing. Number 3 is care about prospects. When people are talking to you, they can tell what your intentions are. And if your intentions are to help somebody, if your intentions are that you care and you're in it because you might be able to help them out with a situation or an issue that they've talked to you about, that's when you start having results that you want. But if all you care about is how many website appointments can I sell so that I can sell more websites and so I can make more money, your prospects are going to know that too. So make sure that while you're passively and intentionally prospecting, you're actually caring about prospects, that your intentions are in the right place. First of all, it just feels better. Second of all, it communicates better. So always be expanding your network, always be building relationships, and always be prospecting. Always be edifying. I love this. Always be edifying. I think the more websites we sell, at first, we start to fall into this rut of, oh, I'm so good at this that I'm going to do everything myself. And so you go from, it's like this really, really weird, it's kind of like your teenagers, right? So you think about it like, people are born, we're kids, and we need all the help that we can get because we need that assistance. And then we grow up and we're teenagers and we get good at certain things and we think we know everything. And then we get into our 20s, we think we know a little bit more. And then the older you get, you realize, oh, wow, I don't know everything. And it's way better to do this together. So it's just like, it really is just like that. Web center owners go through this, franchise owners go through this. Everybody goes through this. It's okay. But you need to remember, you are not in business alone. You have an entire team of professionals that work for you, that are here to support you, and that, by the way, your customers deserve. Our customers deserve the product that they're paying for, and a big part of that value proposition is in the service that we provide. And that professional service is given via our team of professionals. So, don't get in the way of that. Don't try to do everything yourself just because you got good at selling a couple of websites. Make sure that you're constantly edifying the team. And by the way, learning proper edification is huge. It's huge in our business to grow your own franchise, and it's huge in the Web Center program. Number 1, it takes the pressure off of you when you're prospecting. If you're talking to friends and family about referrals or whatever, if you're talking to people that and you're worried about what they're going to think about you, edify the team. Right? It's just a referral tactic. You're edifying somebody else. The pressure isn't on you to have all the answers. The pressure isn't on you about about anything, right? Because you've edified the team. It also builds more value into the appointments that you're setting, because people know that they're not just buying into you and whatever experience you may have or you may not have, but they're buying into a company that has, over 13 years experience and has tens of thousands of customers and several professionals that specialize in all areas of online marketing. That is a valuable appointment. Those are the appointments that sell, because people are excited about the possibilities and they have trust in the system and the support that's available. It also sets the proper tone for what to expect, meaning when you are positioning yourself as partnered with MA Web Centers, or if you're referring MA Web Centers, or if you're edifying the team at MA Web Centers, then when there's a three-way phone call and Conan hops on the phone to do your sales appointment, nobody's confused about who's who, right? You positioned it properly. Everybody is aware of the partnership here. Also, when your customers call you up and they need help editing your website, and you say, oh, here's the number for customer care, give them a call. They will help you with anything. Let me know how it goes. They're not confused, right? Edification is critical from the start to the end. They need to know who they're working with, all of the valuable resources that are available to them, and how, what your role is in that. So edification is huge. It's also, honestly, guys, this is why people that just first get started with the business, I feel like, our new people anyway, they get so many people to see the plan, because again, they're not worried about showing the plan themselves or edifying themselves, but rather they're edifying a senior business partner who's going to show it for them. Just take that approach and apply it here, and you'll see some great results from that. Next, always be following up. Right, one of the things that we talked about that you want in that constant motion is a follow-up process, right? Because you always want to have people that are ready to close and that you're going to close. So the first thing is just ask yourself this question: do you think follow-up is important? Well, I want to share with you these general statistics about sales. These are not sales statistics that we made up. These are generic, or these are general statistics about sales. So 2% of sales are made on the first contact, right? Just 2%. So if you reached out to website prospects and you contacted them one time, you have a 2% chance of making a sale. Now, at the bottom here, this is the next important. These numbers in between are cool, but the first and the last are the most important. 80% of sales are made on the 5th to 12th contact. So when you call me up and you say, I can't get, your website or program is not working for me, I don't know, I can't get any sales to pop through or whatever, and I ask you, I say, well, how many times did you follow up? And you say, I didn't, or I followed up twice, or I followed up 3 times, then I'm just going to say, well, that's fine. If you followed up 3 times, you have a 5% chance of making a sale. Do you want to make the sale? Then you have to follow up 5 to 12 times. That is just fact. That's sales. That has to do with the fact that you're dealing with small business owners that are very busy. You're dealing with timing issues. We can't control timing. We can't control whether the business owner is ready, but we can control if we're going to follow up with them. So I say to be, politely persistent. Right? You're not pressuring people to make a decision, but you're just politely following up to find out where they are, if there's any more information that they need, and if there's anything that you can do to help them move to the next step. Right? 80% of sales are made on the 5th to 12th contact. So if you think it's not working, or if you think there's something wrong with you, there probably isn't. I promise you. It's just that you need to have a little bit more stay power. You need to be able to follow up just a little bit more. So commit to that. When we talk about how many people set appointments or conducted appointments, those are first contacts or second contacts. Think about the possibilities that would happen if unfranchised owners, if we as web center owners followed up 5 to 12 times on all of the appointments that were set. Guys, we would just the earning potential would be out of control. It would be amazing, right? Now look at these bottom statistics. 48% of salespeople never follow up with a prospect. Right? They set an appointment, or they have an appointment, and then they just leave it at that. They don't do any follow-up. That's crazy. Now, 12% of salespeople make more than three contacts. Only 12%. So this is the interesting fact here. 48% of people will never follow up with a prospect, and they're going to be fighting over 2% of the possible shares of sales that are going to happen. That's it. So 2% of sales get divvied up between 48% of salespeople. Whereas 12% of people who are making more than 3 contacts are going to enjoy more on the 80% side. And not even, right? Because that's more than 3. So, 4th contact is 10% of sales. Guys, the key here is this. Follow up is not something that we say because, it's part of the basic five and it just sounds good. We're telling you to follow up because statistically, we know that if you follow up and if you're consistent with your follow up, that you're going to be on track to make sales and you're going to be on track to make business partners. And that's what we want for you. So make sure that you're following up. Make sure that you're part of this 12% of people that are going to enjoy 80% of the successful business growth. Follow, 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 follow up. Always be duplicating. I love this one. Now, I ask you this question, and especially because we have a number of people that just excel, and everybody excels at something, whether it's websites or whether it's showing the plan or whatever. Everybody's good at something, and so I'm not saying not to excel in areas. Absolutely, you want to excel in areas, but at the end of the day, you have to ask yourself this question: would you rather have a team of 50 people with one superstar and 49 people who all do minimums or nothing at all? Right? I mean, that's a very important question to ask yourself. A very important temperature to take in your business. One superstar, and if that superstar happens to be you, and you're the one that's out there selling a million websites, or you're the only one out there personally sponsoring. But it's not a duplicatable process, and because of that, it's being demonstrated that this is how we do it, and then nobody adapts anything. That's great. You're always going to be as good as your last contribution, your last sale, your last personally sponsored. Because wouldn't you rather have a team of 50 people where everybody is pulling their weight and everybody is growing at a healthy, rate? Because people are ultimately going to do what you do, not what you say. So I always say that whatever you do, make sure that if you happen to excel in some area, that you're demonstrating duplicatable business strategies as well. And that goes for everything, whether it's your approach to selling websites, whether it's your approach to duplicating your business, or expanding your network, or using social media, or whatever, right? All of the things that you do need to be duplicatable. You need to make sure that you're doing them so that you can actually duplicate them, because people know when you're training on something that you don't do. And I'm going to tell you flat out that I definitely was one of these people. I sold so many websites. And I went and I did all these crazy things at some points, and then what I realized was it was chaotic and random, and so some months I would have these like months where I would sell literally like 10 websites, and then other months I would sell like one or none, and that was my flow. There was no flow. Right. And so I realized that my way, although it was very successful at times, was not successful consistently. And so I took a step back and I worked with Jeremy, and I fought him so hard on so many things, because I was like, Jeremy, I've sold 10 websites in a month, or I sold 7 in a week, or actually I sold 18 websites one month. I had crazy months like that. He goes, yeah, but so what? So you sold 18 websites one month and then you didn't sell one again for 2 months and you had to start all over. How did that feel? And I'm like, okay, I got you. And that's true. And when you're young and you sell 18 websites, guess how much money you spend? All of it. It's just what happens. And so, he started really coaching me on the duplicatable items. And I'll tell you, that not only did my sales, like even out, and as far as consistency, where I was selling consistently websites every month and I could really count on it because I had a healthy business flow, but I was able to duplicate better. Because here's what I was doing. I was trying to duplicate my crazy approaches with my people. I mean, Matt Giebel and Luke, and I had all these people that were like, teach me how to sell websites. And I didn't know or do the duplicatable thing. So I was trying to teach them the crazy stuff that I did, which was really great for me, but was not duplicatable at all. And so I'm lucky that they didn't quit, because it just was insane. It was not duplicatable. At the end of the day, we want a business where it doesn't rely solely on your hours. That's why we built this business. That's why we're creating leverage, is because we don't want to only be paid on our single hours. We want to be paid on the hours of our network, the organizations that we're building. And so in order to do that successfully, we need to be doing and demonstrating duplicatable things so that the right things duplicate, so that we ultimately can achieve the leverage that we want. Next, always be implementing. I love, love, love this too. Um, we need to just not think about our business, not be professional class goers, not be, I love this. I saw somebody say something, they put like a meme up. They're like, well, I've been thinking about my business all week. I can't stop thinking about it. It's just always like, I think it's great. You're feeding your mind with great things, but what did you do? Right? Did you talk to anybody? Did you set any appointments? Ask yourself these hard questions because, sometimes we can hide behind the audios. We can hide behind the trainings, and we need to do the audios. We need to do the trainings, but we also need to do the work. You need to do the business, right? And by the way, guys, there's a reason that in our country, business owners and salespeople are among the highest paid careers. And by the way, there's a high turnover rate because not everybody's up for makes the cut. Not everybody can handle it. But we ultimately choose to be compensated for our results rather than our hours. We're not trading hours for money. We are trading, what we're worth for money. And so, if you want to be paid what you're worth, in our business, you're going to be paid it every single time. So if you're out there talking to the right people, if you're setting quality appointments, if you're really qualifying your leads, you're going to be compensating accordingly because you're going to have results popping through. But if you're just going to trainings and you're not doing the work, you're going to be compensating accordingly for that too. So what I always like to say is I combine the last two and I say duplicate implementation in your business and watch the creation cycle work to everybody's advantage. Duplicate implementation. Teach people to do the work. It's not just about talking about it, but teach people to do the work by doing the work yourself. Demonstrate it so that everybody's doing the work. The creation cycle is magic, and I want to take a second to talk to you guys what that is because it's very important for yourself to gauge where you're at in this cycle, and it's very important as a mentor for your new business partners and your new web center owners that you're launching, to understand what this creation cycle is and how it affects people. So everybody that starts their business, or starts a fast track or whatever part of the business that we're talking about, they start with a perceived potential. This is what they perceive themselves to be potential of, whether they think that they're coming to the table with a lot to offer, with experience, or whether they think they're coming to the table and they don't think it's going to work. Their belief is either really great or it's really low in themselves. Would you agree with that? Everybody starts this business with either a high amount of belief, a mediocre amount of belief, or a low amount of belief, right? And then from there, that will dictate the type of action that they take. So if their belief of the perceived potential is high, they're going to take a high level of action. If their perceived potential is low, they're going to be more cautious, right? Because they want to protect themselves. So they're going to take a low amount of action because they don't want to risk too much. And whatever kind of action they take is going to dictate the kind of result that they get. So if they took a higher amount of action, they're going to get a higher result. If they took a low kind of action, they're going to get a low result. It works this way every time. Then from there, now this is the important part, the result that they get affects their belief, right? So if they got good results, their belief is going to inflate. And now when it recycles itself, their believed, perceived potential is now higher, right? Because they came to the table with high hopes, they took high action, they got a good result, their belief got better. The second time through this cycle, it got even better. You guys ever notice that? Some people go, you don't understand. People will start recruiting you. People will start soliciting you for websites if you do it right. It's 100% true, and it's all because of this. When your believed perceived potential is higher, you take even more action. You get an even better result. This inflates even more, and so on and so forth. Now, the same thing, unfortunately, is true for the opposite, though. If your perceived potential is low, you take a low amount of action. You get a small result, your belief deflates. And then when you come through the cycle the second time around, now you're starting with an even lesser believed perceived potential, which is going to cause you to take even lesser action, which is going to get even smaller results and deflate your belief even more. And you're going to keep doing this until you quit, or until something changes. So I always recommend that you identify what affects your belief and you just knock that out of the park so that you can start the cycle off in a position where you're going to take a healthy amount of action and see a healthy result and grow your belief so that every time you go through this cycle, you're only getting better. All right, so things that affect your belief are your experience, your consistency, your spouse, your friends and family, the weight that you put into what other people think about you, your belief in this system, your belief in your own ability to follow through, and the results that you get. So when I start a new business partner off or a new web center owner off, we talk about this. And and we just knock it out. Are you worried about what your spouse is going to think? Are you worried about what other people are going to think? Okay, great. How can we overcome that? Are you worried that you don't have the experience? Okay, what part of your lack of experience is going to keep you from setting appointments? Let's identify what the potential issues are before we even go through this cycle, because I want you to be a hopeless success. So guys, the creation cycle is huge. And when you duplicate the right things, right? When you're always prospecting, when you're always edifying, you're always following up, you're always duplicating, you're always implementing, your creation cycle is awesome. Your people's creation cycle is awesome. And it only gets better and better from there. Next, always be building to the next event. The next major event is International Convention, which is going to be August 7th through the 10th in North Carolina in Greensboro. So I want everybody to ask themselves these questions and to work through this. This is homework. This is a worksheet. I will put this up on our Facebook group. Number one, how are you getting to the event? Did you book your travel? How many people are you going to be bringing with you? You need to identify, give yourself a specific number. Make a list of every single person in your group and call every single person on that list and personally invite them to attend the International Convention. You will not believe how far that will go, rather than just mass inviting everybody. If you just call people one at a time and you let them know how important it is for them to be at that event, they will consider it. Also, if they can't get to the event for a specific reason, they will share with you what their challenges are, which gives you an opportunity to help solve those challenges for them. I'm telling you, when you get really good at this business, you will become a professional travel agent. So, you'll be able to help people carpool or share hotel rooms or just do whatever you need to do so that you can eliminate roadblocks and excuses to get as many people there as possible. But here's the thing, you're not going to find out what the roadblocks are unless you pick up the phone and call people. So what we do in our group, because our group is so much bigger now, is we have everybody that's senior master, actually master coordinators and above at this point, and we do a team leader call, and we split the entire group up between all of us, and we all take a handful of people to call and figure out if they're going, and if they're not going, why are they not going, how can we help. It's that simple. You need to have a grassroots effort to this, because people are nervous. They're not sure what to expect, especially if they've never been to a major event. And so you're not going to be able to humanize that for them, and you're not going to get them to make that decision unless you can help them to overcome some of the roadblocks or challenges in their own mind. You have 12 weeks until International Convention, right? So if people can't afford it, sell a website and get their expenses paid to get there. $1,000 will do it easy, and you'll have money left over. But understand this, at the bottom line, the number of people that you get to the next big event is an enormous indicator for the success in your business for the next 6 months and so forth. When people on our team, when we share at the end of an event what we took away, something really amazing happened. Everybody always has an amazing takeaway. I can't even think of somebody that's ever left a major event and had it have an adverse effect. I've just never had that happen. But we did have somebody on our last event at the World Conference during our follow-up call and our team coring. We had people sharing what they took away, and one of the things that somebody said was, listen, I missed the international convention before, and I did nothing all the way up until World Conference. And to be honest with you, like, I probably would have quit my business had I not gotten to the World Conference and realized all of the opportunity right in front of my face, all of all of the things that I was sick and tired of. My job is so many hours and I'm so exhausted, and my family doesn't get enough time with me, and I'm so sick and tired of all that. And the answer is right in front of my face. And if I didn't get to the World Conference, if I didn't see it, if I didn't feel it, if I didn't believe it, I know I would have missed it. I would have missed the entire opportunity. So you don't even know how important it is to not miss it. When people say it's expensive, I say, listen, it will cost you years if you miss the next major event. There's a reason the $1 Million Club members are always at the events, because the people that make it to the $1 Million Club are the people that get to the big events. Make that a priority, guys. Implement this strategy that I'm sharing with you. It's a simple strategy, and it makes a major difference. We get to these events with literally like 3/4 of our team every single time. We never ask if people are going, we ask how they're getting there. And I'm telling you, it's a major difference. It's why our group is exploding. So I know we went a little over, guys, but I wanted to make sure everybody was very, very clear with what to do, because we end these things, and again, the natural tendency is to just take a break. It's okay if you want to take a day or two off, but you want to make sure that you're still engaging in healthy business habits, that you're constantly setting new goals for yourself, so that you can continue to grow, that you're following up with everything that you set in motion during this fast track or during this contest. Set new things in motion, right? Always be prospecting. Continue the accountability by either doing a 12-week accountability group or 90-day fast track leading in the international with your personal team or with a friend, or just be accountable in our Facebook group. I'll continue to monitor it. I know Russell will be on there. You'll have all kinds of great people on there to answer questions. Continue accountability. That will make a difference in your daily habits. Get to the international convention with as many people as possible. Remember, you have 12 weeks to make it happen. Engage every single day. And finally, guys, don't stop now. If you don't stop now, you'll never have to start ever again. Keep that motion going. Keep that cycle going. Continue to grow your business, and I'll see everybody at the international convention.